everyone. This is yet another episode of Career Talks by Welcome Solutions. And in these meetings, we talk with professionals who have interesting career paths and who are willing to share their life hacks with us. And today I have great pleasure to introduce Dr. Elodie Crespel to you. Elodie is a digital media expert. She made the transition into her academic career when studying short film distribution in times before YouTube. In 2015, she earned her PhD from the University of Montreal, where she studied the role of online video in interpersonal communication on social media and in real life. She continued to work in higher education by teaching communication classes and working as a postdoctoral researcher in France. In the end, she decided to quit academia and started exploring the world of freelancing. As a jack of all trades, she enjoys connecting, sharing, and empowering people using digital media. In November of 2020, she also joined a THO Blockchain and AI Hackathon, and her team won third place for pitching an innovative concept to combat education inequality. Now she is the new head of social media marketing at THO to help foster a community of like-minded enthusiasts across all disciplines. Thank you so much, Elodie, for being here, for accepting the invitation, and for sharing your story with us today. And I have to say that I'm very excited for this episode because digital media is on the road today, and as a growing industry, it also attracts a lot of attention as a potential workspace. So I'm very excited, and I have a lot of questions for you. But firstly, I'd like to give a floor to you right now so that you can tell your story from your own perspective.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. It's great to have a space to talk about this, especially for like PhD or grad student to see like what they can do, after their program and all that. Um, yeah, I was always interested by digital media, so that's why I did my master also on internet. It was just the beginning of capability of having video online, so that's why I was you know interested to see how short film can be distributed. There was like few festivals. There were like very very few channels for it. It was before YouTube, so it's hard to imagine internet now without YouTube and social media. But that was the case before, and um, and basically everything I studied in my master, all like half the technology is dead now. There's a lot of things that didn't go through. Um, so it's interesting to study digital media, but when you do, you have to like do it quickly because otherwise your your topics will like just die on you or get old. And um, and since I was like curious, I love to like learn new things and understand how things work. So I decided to do a PhD basically and move to Montreal. Because at the time we had like a great program. It was joint, so we had University of Montreal with UQAM, University of Quebec of Montreal, and Concordia. So I get to like have classes in all the three university. I was part of the student representative, so we get to see like how things are run. Helping students get scholarship, and we created a conference. So it was a great experience, a lot of learning, and so I like to say I'm jack of all trades because you get to do so many different things during your PhD. It's not just uh, doing research, but you get to like um, do budgeting because you have like conferences. You have to like be very diplomatic, especially when you have to deal with three different schools in Montreal because you have the francophones and the anglophones. So you have to be like think of the different cultures, how to deal with the education and the vision of how things should be run. And and so after all that, so I returned to France, like when I finished my PhD, and I continued to study um, mostly online community. So for my postdoc, it was basically doing research on online communities for cancer with patient with cancer, like how they like join forums and what they do online, how they interacted, all that. And we were funded by a lab. They were like researching medicine for cancer, and they wanted to know like why people go online, because they were like worried that they will go and find bad information, or they will get you distracted, and like some people they say, oh, just have a carrot juice every day and then your cancer will be gone, things like that. But we found out that people are like way smarter than we believe. Like they know they shouldn't trust all those crazy crazy people outside. And there was a lot of emotional support, a lot of it was very empathetic. So there was really a space for them to share knowledge, but share like their stress over being sick and all that, and helping them. So that was the strong foundation for the community. And that's something I found like also during my PhD, like why people would share videos. It was not just because, oh, I want to be like the coolest online, but because I want to like keep interacting with people I like. I want to show I care. So that's why they were sharing videos. So I think that's the really, I think that's an important point to remember, that even though we're like, very techy, it's online, it's digital, people still need to have interaction with other humans. Like we need a connection, not just like we're sharing information and knowledge, but we share values and experience, we share our skills, we share our difficulties and all that. So that's the strong point of those communication tools, especially now with COVID. We're all stuck at home, so we need to have good internet connection and be able to exchange, even if it's just Zoom. At least we can see each other and talk. Like it's not as fun as being together at a cafe, but at least we get to chat.
Right. Okay, great. So I have a lot of questions for you because
Mhm,
indeed, this is like social media again. This is our now it's our default way of communicating
mhm,
ever since Corona. But I have a feeling that it was actually going this way already for the past decade. So
mhm.
eventually, even without Corona, I think sooner or later it would become our default way of communicating. Um, so first of all, if you could write your personal code of conduct for how to use social media to stay mentally healthy and to do it the right way, so that it affects your life in a positive way, what would you say? Like, what would be the main golden rules that you should follow?
The main rule was to, well, you should not, spend 100% of your time on it, because you need other like interests. But like what I suggest is that you do like you really follow people or like subject you're interested in. Just you just go like, because I'll just go on Instagram and just look at whatever. But you have to like tell the algorithm what you like and what you want to know. So like you have interesting people to follow, but you can just follow also hashtags, for subjects, because otherwise you get all kinds of different things, and that's when people get depressed, because they see like like all those beautiful people with big cars, and like, oh no, I need to be like that. You don't have to be like that. Just follow what's interesting of you, and you find your own community in that, like people with the same interest. So I think that's the main use. And also like um, of course try to be like nice to each other. Don't troll people, like everybody's doing their best. So it's like because it's easy to know to write when you're angry, something mean to people, you're protected, you don't see the reaction. You would never do that, if you see someone on the street, you don't like their clothes, you're like, oh, you look ugly, like you know you would never do that. So basically remember that even if it's like online space, is still real people behind those screens. So just be civilized, like you would do in on the street or at home with your friends.
Right. I really think that Yeah, it's very important what you're saying, and I think there is not enough also regulation in terms still in terms of how to treat this anonymous hate online. So we're
Mhm.
definitely still early on with coming up with effective tools to stop prevent from that. And indeed, anonymity online is a very yeah, it's actually psychological effect. Anonymity in general prompts people to become aggressive towards each other, and
Mhm.
I mean that's actually known in psychology since at least a century, but we still didn't work out functional ways of preventing that. So that's for sure, and especially I guess especially now when Corona crisis going on since a year almost, it becomes even more of the problem because of the general frustration and tiredness from the situation. So I can
Mhm.
imagine that it becomes a huge issue. All right, so okay, let me now ask you a question from the audience.
Mhm.
So Valentina is asking, so she's interested in working in this space, and um, she's asking, do you think that someone with a PhD in another field, like biology, for instance, but with a lot of social media experience and a self-taught volunteer can undertake this career path, or a PhD in a related subject such as communication is necessary?
No, because I did PhD in communication, but we study, theory. We study basically why people do things, how they do things. But it's not like the same as studying, marketing or like being famous online and having a lot of followers. So it's the same subject, but it's like different angles. And I think she has a Valentina. She has a really like strong suit because she has all the knowledge, biology, like this her expertise, and she has also like social media. And now there's a lot of startup, there's a lot of biotech companies or like even government. They need social media manager, community manager. Like sometimes you can see those ads, on LinkedIn or even outside. So I think you just need to like go out there and look for what's available. And because basically like for using social media is I know they have like programs you can learn from it, but a lot of it you learn on the by doing it, and it's changing like almost every day. There's like new tools. Facebook is changing its algorithm, so you have to like tweak it. Then you have to think of, okay, like who's your audience, like how you're gonna talk to them, what they want to learn or share. So um, basically that's something you learn on the go. And as long I think you're very curious, you're good with communication, which most people with PhD uh, are like, we had to learn like to write, we do a lot of conference, so we're not afraid to uh, take front stage. You have to teach classes, so we know how to like try to explain things easily and be clear. So those are all the strong suit that can she use for social media as well.
Right. Well, I actually I found out recently that um, companies that have a company blog on their website, they tend to sell on average 60% more products
Hmm.
than companies that don't have a blog. So that actually clearly shows that communicating with the audience and with the leads clearly leads to more sales and more market success. That's why these days companies are actively searching for communicators, and just as you said, I think the ability to combine your ground knowledge and background in certain area with the social communication and social
Hmm.
media skills is actually a strength. So indeed, it's a strength, not a liability. And indeed, there is no. I can see that there is the whole space of communicators also in the field where I am, so career advisory, who
Hmm.
talk a lot, but they don't have much substance in what they say, and you always have to like basically the ability to write is a different skill from the content, and you first you have to have the content to write about, and you have to have interesting insights and something to say before you
Mhm.
say it. So if you have a deep knowledge in certain topic, then it's a very good start, because also no one wants to work with people who have no knowledge and no personality, yet they try to appear online and just represent projects. So I think
Mhm.
this is really important indeed. Okay, great. So let me now proceed to another question from the audience.
Mhm.
Um, so Jessica is asking, what professional courses or training do you recommend to increase skills and knowledge in community management and or social media marketing?
You can. There's all kind of online courses now. I think you should like try them before buying because some of them are very, as you said, like very shallow. There's nothing much they're saying actually. Like, it's just very general, basic advice. I think the best is just like trying to like find interesting podcasts or blogs. What other people are doing. Uh, like if you have to like post on Instagram, there's if you type community management, there's a lot of actually community managers, sharing their tips and tricks, and that's where I would go. Like I think unless really you have no clue how to use social media, like maybe you should take an intensive course. But I mean, most of us we're already using it, as a user. So what I do is like I just use myself. Like okay, what interests me? Like why do I follow this one or not this one? Basically like some of them are interesting because they share, like you said, like great content. Like that's why you follow them, like because they add value. You have interesting interview, you have interesting insights. So um, just go with that. And there's also like instinct. There's not really um, like bad or wrong. Like there's no like golden rules to follow. Like as long as you do something that's interesting, that would add value to someone. It doesn't look too ugly, then it's fine. It's not rocket science. It's just social media.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking how not to invest in the wrong course, because there are the prices can range everything between like literally €10 or $10 at Udemy or Coursera,
Yeah.
all the way to $10,000 or 10,000
Mhm.
euros or even more. So how to choose the right course, how to recognize that the content will be worth its price.
Try to see as much as possible like what the course will be, like you have detailed uh, the planning. um some they offer like free trial, and try to use it as much to see like go as far as possible in the course to see if it's interesting or not. Because some of them you'll see that there's you know not much value in it. Like they share stuff that you can find also online just by you know doing some Google search. So
Mhm.
there's no really need to have like I did this course. Like it's not something that will like bring that much value to it. I think the value she like for the first one, she already doing social media. Even if it's volunteer, she's still doing it. So it's the experience that counts.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's not like I mean it's not like you're not like heart surgery. You don't have to show you have the diploma for it. Like, this is a different topic. So I think yeah, just look for like free trial content, and maybe some of them they have like MOOC online or like little web conference, and trying to find like the one you think okay this one know what he's talking about and just follow them.
Right. Well, I could share my own tip here, because
Okay, yeah.
I learned something about digital marketing just from life, and it works for me. So
Hmm.
I think if you really want to work, like become good at it, or at least start doing it, I think it's important to actually start looking at what other people do by simply removing ad block from YouTube, let's say,
Mhm.
and from other social media, because we often use those tools that block ads and we don't watch ads, or we buy into premium features so that we are not even presented any ads. Like there is this YouTube Premium that many people use these days that basically prevents you from any ads, or we watch Netflix. So basically, we choose platforms where we can avoid ads on the
Mhm.
cost of subscription fee or so. But it's good to actually, if you really want to know what's being done at the moment, then I think the best way and the simplest way and the shortest way is to just switch off these features and see what kinds of ads will be presented to you. And in the past few months, I've seen a lot of YouTube ads, and sometimes I deliberately don't close them, but I watch them till the end. And some of them, have like last for 1 minute. Some of them last for 10 minutes, because YouTube ads can be much longer than regular TV ads. So I was watching a lot of content, and I learned a lot of techniques, because once you watch multiple ads in the same area, then you can
Mhm.
see patterns. You can see that they are structured in a similar way. So there is a specific type of like narrative that is being
Mhm.
used that increases the sales. Yeah, that is the sales strategy, and that increases the, what's the name for it in marketing, when you basically conversion rate, of course.
Conversion, yeah. But I think there's a difference between like ad and then contents you would share regularly, because um, people like will not just like follow you to see like ads. Like they follow you because you have some kind of value to add. So you just need to be like careful. There's like, yeah, you can learn from how they do the ads, but then also there's the content. You need to think about what the what needs to be shared. Why people would want to follow you on this platform or not.
And well, yeah, actually, I like my tip was only about the digital marketing. It was
Yeah.
not about the content
Hmm.
creation, indeed. Yeah, but from this digital marketing, you can also learn something about yourself. Like I could learn a little bit about how YouTube perceives me as a person. And recently, I got an ad from a new gear for men to
Hmm.
shave your balls better, and I was like,
Okay.
oh, like apparently to YouTube I'm a dude. I don't know why, but yeah, it used to show me also a few ads for courses for men on how to pick up a woman, and like
Okay.
these pickup artists. Like I see those ads quite often actually. So for some reason, YouTube decided that I'm a guy.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. And yeah, heterosexual guy in certain age range. I can already see that, like from all these
Hmm.
what type of person he thinks I am. But,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I
what.
guess you're not interested in typical feminine YouTube videos, so
Yeah, yeah. I tend to watch financial markets rather than like makeup channels. So
that's
maybe,
why the YouTube thinks that you're a man now.
yeah, yeah. But
So
yeah,
then, yeah, you see like the algorithm is like biased, it's like gender biased in the system.
well, yes. Well, I mean, I can understand it in a way that um, it uses statistics, and 90 plus percent of people watching financial channels on YouTube are are guys, so it
Yeah.
makes
So
sense. I'm just surprised that they don't have my data yet to actually figure my gender. That's what bugs me actually, because like they belong to Facebook, and Facebook knows everything about me, and how is it
hmm
is it possible that they don't have this information? That actually that's
they're
surprising.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So, about content creation, could you share with us a little some tips about how to be a good content creator? So, what you have to take into account to represent your project or the company or yourself well when you create content?
Usually I plan like at least I have different ones because you cannot, say everything in just one post. Like if you're like on Twitter or Instagram, it's very short. So it's just like one. basically you have like just one idea. And so that's why usually I think, okay, I'll just like say why we need to think about this project. So if there's like 5 points, then it's going to be like 5 different posts, and you like trying to have like a nice visual, just like the keywords maybe on the image, and then have the text, and find the best hashtag for it. So that's when look what other have been using as hashtag, or there's like a couple of apps also you can use like, to find which one works, and go for there. So that's how I do it. Usually like plan out, like what are the challenges, like what are the values. Yeah, think about, okay, who will be interested in that topic, and just go for there.
Is there like a template that is available somewhere online where you can prepare the whole social media campaign for one project, just so that you have like an algorithm for what you think about and how to divide this content into posts? Is there any tool like this?
There's a lot of online, people, they sell their templates. Usually it's very like girly ones, so it's not always the best suited, if you work in other areas. Because I usually like use, like, you can use like Buffer, but it's just like it's like a calendar basically. Okay, Monday gonna talk about this, Tuesday this, but you have to basically do yourself like pretty like not decompose, but like separate all the ideas. It's like how you learn writing, like say one paragraph is one idea, so it's basically the same rules. Because if you say too much in one post, especially like tweets or Instagram, people will be like, "What she's talking about?" There's like too much, too much detail, and you can even like write it anyway. So LinkedIn is, you can actually write an article, so that's good. You can, if you're really into writing and have big ideas, you can go for long form on LinkedIn.
And why do you, which of the social media platforms would you recommend for starting businesses? Because I can I can hear advice from multiple sources that is always like contradictory. And there is a team Facebook, there is a team Instagram, and there is the team LinkedIn, and and no one is really advising me for using Twitter, which I actually use a lot. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Like from the perspective of a small entrepreneur, if you don't have much budget for marketing, so like you treat social media as a way to get a free marketing channel, where would you invest the most time and energy today?
I think Instagram is quite big. Facebook is, I mean, the problem is like Facebook, everybody's on Facebook, but nobody will see you if you don't like actually spend money on sponsoring your post, because you just be drowned. And like if you're just starting, the Facebook algorithm will not even like think of you and put it on people's feed. Like even if people follow you, they may not even see your post. So like unless you like pay money. So now Facebook is really, really like hard, even like, so you really have to like spend a lot of time and money on it. I think Twitter is a good way to have like to build community on it. Like if you have like really like, it depends on what you're selling. I had some clients, they were selling, they're like a plumber, like, it's like, well, do you really need like a Instagram page, just, where you're gonna show pipes and bathroom floating, unless they really like do like you know content like how to take care of your plumbing, some like they give like really advice all the time. Like if I just use it as advertisements, like people will not watch it, like they won't get followers, they won't get likes. And people confuse like having a lot of likes and having a lot of sales. Like it doesn't work that way. Like
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I'm actually also starting to realize that that it doesn't really convert that well, because those who follow you often follow you because of the free content you post, and they are
Mhm.
not necessarily going to um, yeah, proceed to actually buying products, because the reason why they like watch your content in the first place is because they find it a quality content, but it's free. So
Mhm.
how can you give any like simple tips of how to uh, make sure that your online presence will actually lead to any conversion? Or is it, or is it a type of like really high level question that, only, that is like a secret that you only get after, learning online marketing for 10 years, and it's really, really hard to achieve. And this is actually a quite a, complex problem that you have to solve with professionals, and you can't really give any like quick fixes for it.
Um, yeah, I think you should be careful, like people selling you quick fixes. Like there's a lot of them on, online. Like, oh, follow my 7 step and you'll be a millionaire. It's like, yeah, sure. Then we'd be all millionaire online, right? I think it really depends on the product, and like, um, because like if you want to people to buy, like, I don't know if you're selling courses or what. It depends if it's like physical product or like immaterial products. So that's different also. Like for like example for Instagram is really good for like beauty products, because you have your content, people follow you, but at the end they still have to buy the cream to get the result or like whatever. So um that's different. If you want to like sell something, you have to really like have a great argument, like, okay, this is all the free stuff, but if you really want to like um maybe not just learn how to do it, but really the one they do it, they say like yeah, the quick stuff, like, that's where they get you, like, oh, you won't have to spend so much time, it's all like pre-formatted, it's easy. So yeah, the problem is that, yeah, it depends on like what you're selling, who's your audience, and like go for there. Like there's no like one formula for everyone. Depends on who's your target, like what you're gonna sell.
Mm.
If it's like a pizza restaurant, I mean, after a while I'm like, you,
Right.
you're trying to look at the calendars, like, oh, Valentine's Day coming out, okay, that's gonna be a post for Valentine's Day. And but yeah, those are hard. Like the one I'm working for, the GH.0, is easier because we have like it's over like 15 different hackathons, so there's like different subjects, so at least you have material. But for like how you say, like plumbing service or pizza, it's like
Mm.
it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me just ask, because what particularly interests me. Sorry for being private here, but actually I am more like oriented at digital products and
Mhm.
digital content, and services online. So it's not manufacturing anything, but it's more like services and online products like aptitude tests, let's say. So what
Mhm.
do you think it would be potentially a good channel for this, and how to make sure that it sells?
How they sell. You have to really like show them the difference between if the stuff they get from free and when they're paying. Like to see, because as you said, like, why would I pay if I already get stuff from free? But like, like the free stuff's like, oh, it's very basic and general. But if you really, have like to do personality tests, well, it has to be like it's really individualized. Uh, it's gonna be just for you, and then you can, use it for this and that, and you, I don't know, like have arguments about why we need to have uh, a personality test and what's the difference between the other competitors, because they are free online tests, but
Right.
that's why you also need to see the competition, like what they're offering.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I think it's a very good point to make this distinction clear.
Mhm.
Not maybe not give away everything you do straight away. That's that also. because you sometimes you're tempted to, right? You're tempted to just talk about what you do, but sometimes you have to actually keep some part of your work only, reserved for those who pay, and that's
Yeah, or you can, yeah, you can talk like, why are you doing this? Like,
mhm. Yeah,
those, show that you are passionate about your product, you know, you,
mhm.
you're an expert in it, all those things, and then it'll go toward, okay, now you need to buy it because, you know, I've been, working on it for like 10 years and I'm
Yeah,
the expert on the subject. I think especially for like, for women, we tend to like minimize what we know. So we have to like, just just brag like, men do. Maybe that's why YouTube thinks you're a guy.
maybe, maybe,
Yeah. She was like, oh, she's an expert. She knows what she's doing. Oh, that's a man.
maybe. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, that's a very good point. And it's also something I had to learn after leaving academia because in academia we are prompted to share everything. Like as
Mhm,
soon as your paper is published, like all your pipeline, all your methods, like you're even required to share it in public
mhm,
today because respectable journals will not even publish your content if you cannot share all the pipeline with the
mhm,
with the readers, which is good. It makes perfect sense because at the end of the day, you're paid by the taxpayers' money, and they want to
mhm,
see your like output and all the methods. And society is the real owner of what you do, so that makes
mhm,
perfect sense. Well, in business, it's different. Like you are the owner of what you do, and I'm still learning that I have to stop giving away my work for free because I still have that tendency, and I'm trying to fight with it. And actually I
mhm,
made the resolution that this year I'm stopping to actually present for free and giving talks
mhm,
and giving coaching sessions for free. And I think it's been a few weeks so far, and I think I just still gave a few coaching sessions for free just like that because I couldn't really say no. And I think
mhm,
I should definitely work on this. That's for sure. It's a very good advice, and like this is something that no one also prepares us for when we go towards industry, that we will have to be our own advocate right now and protect our
mhm.
own work better. Okay, let me ask you another question from the audience then. Um, And Valentina is asking what kind of companies are looking for this type of professionals, and where shall I look? Well, I think we kind of answered this question.
Yeah, I think now all the companies are like looking for community management specialists. Maybe they will not like say it right away, or they try to minimize. Some people they're like, oh, we're just gonna hire an intern. They know how to deal with social media, but if they want to have like a really good job to be done, they need to have like really one person, being fully committed to it. And as I said, there's the social media, there's all those community management. This because since she has a science background, she can write blog posts, she can do all kind of stuff. So um, you
Yeah,
just need to browse
yeah,
all the regular, Indeed, LinkedIn, all those things, and um, like build her network. Like talk to people, like see
and
what's there.
mhm. Well, I think like I mean, like there were times 10 or 20 years ago when the CEO could do the marketing because the CEO was presenting the project on public meetings, etc.,
Hmm.
making contacts and bringing in like key clients, etc. But now it's just impossible to follow. There are so many social media, and actually companies tend to delegate this job as soon as they possibly can. And when I talk to other small entrepreneurs who are now starting their businesses, what I hear actually the most often is that if they could delegate just anything, when they get their first employee, the first person they will employ is a social media representative,
Hmm.
or digital marketing person, or social media or the community manager. So it's
Hmm.
exactly the type of profession that is wanted right now. And I know it from my own experience too. I feel that when you create content, then the necessity to be present on social media daily, it's a major distractor that I would also, if I could get helped with this, I would actually do it. I would
Mhm.
actually go for it. So it's definitely a type of profession that pretty much everyone needs right now, and maybe even cold mailing would help, because companies that, many companies don't have their representative just yet,
Yeah.
and if they
So
get a
she,
good candidate.
yeah, she can like she's like Valentina, if she's in biology, she can look at all the company that interested her, and then you just look at their Twitter feeds or LinkedIn, and sometimes you see like nothing is done. So then she can reach out and like, hey, I saw I saw your social media, and I think you need some help. And
Right.
she can like and talk about her, like she has like both the uh, expertise in science and the social media aspect. So
Right, indeed.
yeah.
That's a very good advice. Okay, so yeah, but actually, I have a bit different question right now related to
Hmm.
communities in today's online space, because I myself, I have a feeling that I'm a bit tired with online communities. That's also
Hmm.
why, like, I'm trying to limit. So it's so destructive, like space already, that I'm just trying to limit the amount of channels through which I'm communicating. I was only talking to a few friends through Telegram and Signal, so I'm just not using them at the moment because I felt it was just too much for me. And I try to make sure that I have very limited number of online communities I belong to, just because it
Hmm.
consumes so much time. And these days, Clubhouse becomes the next big thing, and I'm now actually hesitating whether or not I should join Clubhouse, because I've heard from people how destructive it can be, and I'm like, can I really afford spending my evenings on attending Clubhouse for hours
Hmm.
and hours, because it's very addictive, from what people say. And I'm just thinking, um, do you think we reach this point when people are so tired with communities that they don't have any space for new ones, or do you think this trend will actually go on and on, and we'll see like even more explosion in this space?
I think it's been already like, I mean, I've been studying this for like over 10 years. I mean, at first, way before Facebook, there was MySpace, there was High Five, and there's a couple of them, and then just basically one took over, was Facebook. Uh, now now people, they're moving to Clubhouse because they're like sick of having just images, with Instagram and TikTok. So now it's just audio. I think people will always like, uh, get tired of one thing and try something new. Um, so yeah, the problem is like when there's like too many different ones, at some point I think just one will, come out and eat the others. Like it's kind of like a jungle, out there. So we'll see like Clubhouse how it's doing. Um, it's like those, like for Telegram, then there's like Telegram, Discord, Signal, it's WhatsApp. So we'll see like who's gonna stay. Like, but I think those technology, there's always gonna be one like more like chat, because I don't know if you remember, there was ICQ, there was MSN Messenger, like for the old generation, like there was always a chat form. So I think that's where we're gonna keep, one of those, Telegram or Signal. Um, I guess image is gonna stay as well, like 'cause, I mean, humans are very visual no matter what, and especially with the phone, it's so easy to like you open TikTok and it's like, oh, I spent 2 hours just looking through, you know, some videos of people dancing and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's been I mean, at the beginning of internet, that's what people would go online, is to find community and find other-minded people looking for the same subject. So, but yeah, it can be like, you can spend too much time on it. You have to limit yourself sometimes.
right. And I
Yeah, it's
think it's
like
also worth mentioning that, um, yeah, it's I myself I like to think that social media is just a way of communicating. It's not life itself. I mean, many people I feel treat social media as life, as the
mhm,
reality. They already became what they represent on social media. It's them, like which is good in principle, but they take like online media activity very personally. For instance, like I recently, literally last week, I had a large dispute with one of my friends who felt very offended by the fact that I did not answer to a question that he posted under my post on Twitter. And he
oh,
literally unfollowed me on Twitter for that. And he made me a huge rant through emails. And he basically, after I responded to that, and I didn't really like the fact that he reacts so angrily to such a detail, because for me it was just something very irrelevant and something that
mhm.
didn't have any weight.
Yeah,
Um,
but he took it personally, like
yeah,
you.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to say that many people these days treat like social media the same as real life. So for them, if you don't, let's say, if you don't notice their question and you don't respond, they treat it the same way as if you were just standing in front of them and then turning
Mhm.
around and walking away, which is for me like blows my mind, because
Yeah,
you get so many notifications that you might not even notice this question, but still people take an offense. So
but it's funny. Like we went back like full circle. At the beginning was like saying, oh, you have to be like nice to people, just like if you meet them on the street. But at the same time, when we're talking on those spaces, we're not. It's not synchronous. We're not, live, and we can see the reaction, the face. So that's I mean, that's the good thing and the bad thing. Like as you said, like if you didn't get the notification, you missed it, and he got obsessed because for him you had like a personal link. You should have noticed him, and you didn't. So that's
yeah. But I think it's a bit dangerous trend if
mhm,
people don't no longer see the difference
mhm,
between the two, and that
yeah,
can do a lot of frustration and conflicts as well. And
yeah, because you were not having like a one-on-one conversation. It was a public, you know, many to many conversation, and you confuse the two. So
yeah, exactly. Um, but actually, related to this question, I like to ask you another one, which is how can you prevent yourself from this dark side of social media? So when uh, it becomes your enemy instead of being your friend. For instance, when people start expecting you to behave in a certain way that is not
mhm,
necessarily your true self. And I can like give a simple example. Like every time, I on Twitter, like this academic Twitter community, it's
mhm,
a specific type of mindset and specific values and specific type of narrative that kind of people share. And
mhm,
if you say something that might not 100% relate to the expectations of this community, you lose followers straight away. And I remember I recently said something that was actually meant I mean, the purpose was good. I was saying something along the lines that, if you still do your projects properly now in times of Corona, when it's the hardest, even when you're tired, when you're frustrated, but you still respond to emails, you still do all your duties, then it will be seen as very professional and your colleagues will remember that. Because many
mhm,
people don't. Many people actually lower the standards, and not because of mental health problems, but because they just lower their standards because everybody else does. So they like,
uh-huh,
great, more time for Netflix, and they just stop doing their duties. That's my impression. So that was the like the message, but um, I think a few people took it wrong. They took it as a sign of negligence for people with mental health problems, and like in like
mhm.
5 minutes, I got like 10 people unfollowing me like straight away. And
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah, so it's really easy to get misunderstood, and it's really easy to have people who were your followers for maybe years even to like just turn around from you like in split second because
Mhm,
you didn't say the things, or you didn't express yourself in a way they expected or they would wish.
mhm,
Um, and I think, I mean, once you do business and you represent your project, or if you do project for a company, whatever, like as a professional who builds some social media image, sooner or later you will meet with these situations, I think. And more and more so if your following grows. So if do you have any advice how can one like how can one prepare mentally for this type of situation, and can you actually grow some thick skin in some way so that those situations don't affect you and don't affect your like mental health and mood
Mm-hmm.
and well-being?
Yeah. Uh, I think we have to remember that, uh, okay, those are still real people behind the screen, but yeah, it's so easy to be misunderstood, and now everything is dissected. Like what you say is like, oh, she said, like for your example, like, oh, she doesn't care for people with mental health issue, like so. There's a you have to say like you need to be like really politically correct and think of everyone and be very inclusive. So um, a lot of companies they have to deal with big crises, but I think you have to remember like people will forget after a while. Like there will be another big crisis or big oh no she did not she say something horrible. You have to uh, yeah really not to make it personal. That's the like they didn't attack you, they just attacked the message, they didn't understand, and try to move on as the best you can. Like some issues are really like uh, can be really strong. Like yeah, the whole case in France that one girl she says something and now she has a death threat because she said something about Islam, and it was big political issues, especially in France. We have it's very complex, and I think that that's the problem. Like sometimes people like reduce everything to make it simple, but those sometimes things we have in society are like they go way back. They have multiple layers, they have multiple sides to it, and that's the problem. Like people, they just want very like you have to be black and white, very like clear cut, and you have to be on the right side right away. So um, that's one of the bad sides sometimes of social media is like you have uh, this bubble expanding on one issue, then but it's not really like what do you say like they're not like good discussion, like really arguing and being bringing good argument to the discussion, having solution. It's just they just get mad and throwing angry stuff at each other. So that's, that's one of the issue with I guess social media we have to deal with.
Right. Yeah, I mean, uh, honestly, I'm quite fine with how social media work for me for now. But I'm
Hmm.
sometimes thinking, because I feel there's always a point where, once you keep on growing, then you start getting so-called haters. And this really happens when you're very small. Then usually your friends and also people who don't know you, they usually support you and they say, yeah, keep on going, you're doing great stuff. But once you're getting actually to some level of success, I think then this is when the problem starts. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know how it feels. But but I know, anecdotally from many sources. Also, you can also watch here on YouTube many stories from people who can consider themselves very successful in the digital space, who suffered from severe problems because
Hmm.
and there is this culture, quit culture in the social media when people feel compelled to even disconnect completely just because of some outrage, public outrage on because some of their statement or something they said.
Hmm.
And it's so easy to become a public enemy today. This is really disturbing, I would say. Like I'm curious, how does your like daily life as a social media communication person looks like? And what
Hmm.
particularly interests me is like how is your day structured? and how, when your like official working hours end, also how do you feel about using social media in your free time? So are you so tired of social media that you no longer feel any energy and you just want anything but social media, or you still actually have enough stamina to go on your private social media accounts and still be active? So how does it look for you?
Um, well, for me now it became really like uh, interlinked, especially for like LinkedIn. Since now I joined the Cage point oh. So basically, I'm working with the flow of the hackathons. So I'm planning ahead like my days. Like okay, in 2 weeks we're gonna have like this one. So I need to start planning my feed for Instagram and LinkedIn. So now trying to have a build up. So I'm gonna have like because usually we have like challenges for each one. So we have like 3, 4. So I'm gonna say okay, I'm gonna have like post for this challenge, another post for this challenge, etc. Try to edit some videos and do a lot of research on like who's big on the subject on Instagram or Twitter, especially. Twitter is really useful. I found this tool is quite useful. It's called SparkToro. So you can upload hashtag or uh, your own profile to see like who's following you, like what are their subjects, who are they. So that's a good way to know more about your audience and what they like. And then I try to like if I have a post on Twitter and they say like we have a hackathon on International Women's Day, so I have all those big accounts, so I try to like tag them on the post or like go on their feed and say like, oh, this is interesting, like you want to join us for this one. So because that's the point also, like it's not just you posting but also trying to have a conversation. So my free time is basically going on social media and trying to see like who's talking about this subject, and I'm like, oh, this is good for like our next hackathon on fintech, so I'll just drop a line on their account. So that's what I do. So yeah, the problem is like sometimes I feel like my day never ends because as long as I have my phone, you can always like say, okay, I'm working because I'm like retweeting or liking this post or commenting. So it's like never ending stories. You need to like sometimes learn to like, okay, I'm just gonna stop and like go outside for a walk because it's sunny outside. Like, need to like have a real life also. And there's also a lot of like I said, a lot of like research trying to see the like new cool news to learn about like digital marketing or just um, blogs or tweets out there. So that's the one I like, the Spartor. It's quite cool. There's a free version, so it's only you get 10 research a month, but if you can like use it well and it's quite useful.
And actually, I have another question since while talking to you, it just came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that you're such a peaceful person who is just very chilled. And I always thought that people who are behind digital content and digital marketing, but also social media communication, especially on social media like Twitter or Facebook, they are much different. I always had this image on my mind that these people have ADHD. They are like just switching between apps like crazy and just spend the whole day just typing at the incredible speed. So this actually differs from my perception.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask you about this. So, what is the profile of a typical person who is behind this content? Do you experience that most people out there are actually people like you who are very peaceful, or is there something true to this image I have that most people are actually ADHD like?
Um, Maybe if you're like for like young audience, but I think for like a big company or like if you really want to have like a planning, like you need to be well, not like super chill, but at least level-headed and like um, yeah, you have to think ahead like what you're gonna say because let's say if you say something wrong, like it blows up and you have a crisis on your hand. So yeah, you need to be like careful and really like plan ahead because you need to have like a, let's say, a strong strategy, like just not respond to everybody like on the go. I think maybe it's for some brand that can be that can work, but for the what I'm doing, like we need something um, to really think about ahead, like okay, what we're gonna talk about. So now I have to do research, find articles, have some some facts to talk about. Um, as you say, bring content, so we cannot just go all over the place and like share everything and anything. So I have to like, okay, think, is this gonna be good for this or that? Where are we on in our day to day for our next project? So you have to just something. Yeah, you need to slow down just to like go for the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Okay,
maybe
interesting.
that's just me. I mean, I don't know that many social media manager. Like
Mhm.
the one I've met, they're usually not hyperactive. Like
Right. You know,
it's
actually,
like the
it's interesting because it might mean that those hyperactive ones are these like low ticket marketeers who are everywhere, but they just they don't actually they're not behind serious projects, just very small projects or just behind themselves. So
Mhm.
they build their own image, but maybe respectable companies actually hire much more like calm and thoughtful people indeed for to do their digital marketing, which would be, I guess, good news for PhDs because we are usually the thoughtful ones. We are not the ADHD
Yeah.
like
Yeah, we're very focused, but well, you need to be focused, even if it's like different platform. You need to think about, okay, what I'm gonna do for Twitter. Like if I'm on LinkedIn, I need to talk about this.
Mhm. And
As I said, like so now you need to write blog posts, so you need, to be focused and be able to write something quite long.
mhm. But is it
So
like when you write something for a company or like an organization, is there anyone who censors you or checks through your content, or is it like immediately posted? So is there any team working with you and just editing what you do, or you have the freedom as soon as you create a content, you have a freedom to post it online?
so then it depends. Like at first, like the CEO was like going through to make sure like everything's okay. We also have another girl. She do a lot of the writing, the blog posts. So sometimes I like reuse her material. So actually there's a whole team behind it. So even I think even like big company, there's not one person behind them. There's a whole team of them. Because you need to plan it. You need to like create the content, make sure everything is okay and coherent. So yeah, it's a lot of work and time consuming. People think
Right.
it's fast and easy, but yeah,
No, I
you
know it's
spend time on
fast
that.
and easy. And I think it's also very like physically draining because to get any results or any substantial results on social media, you have to be quite consequent. And I can see that people often jump on social media and they are like hyperactive for a month or two, and
And
then
then
see
they
the
stop.
results
Yeah.
that they hoped for and
Hmm.
drop out or just radically decrease their presence. And I think, to get long lasting effects, you have to invest and be present and come back every week or every day for sometimes for years. And
Yeah,
not
you need to be consistent. That's why the whole planning is important. You have to like, okay, I'm gonna do at least 1 or 2 weeks ahead to make sure I have something to post. Because as you say, sometimes you're not feeling so, you know, inspired that day. You're like, oh, what am I gonna post about? So if you have like your planning, then it's easy. You just say, okay, for this day, it's gonna be that, and up.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
because as you say, consistency is like really key. Like I mean, even like the other day, I was cleaning up our social media, like for Instagram, there was a bunch of people we follow, and I was like, well, they haven't published anything since 2019, so I think I'm just gonna unfollow them because I guess they're not active, they're just sitting there, and there's no point to having them.
Right. So Elodie, could you maybe give some more like general advice for for people who are interested in in working the space, so social media communication and the digital marketing, and yet they have no formal experience in their resume. So anything that you could come up with.
If they have nothing on their resume, I think it's to bring their other skills in front, because I think we're talking mostly for like people with graduate students or PhD. So I know, say you're a good communicator, you have this expertise in that subject that not many people have, so that can be used. As you say, especially now, a lot of companies, they need someone to deal with social media, but they still have, you know, they need some understanding of what they're doing. So that's where you can bring forward all your years of doing research or PhD or whatever. And I think there's another strong suit is that you're always like curious because you're always learning. You have to share. So that's those skills you need to bring forward, and then you can just as you say, you can tell you like following this course online, or if you really need to prove that you have some knowledge, you can always do those Udemy or on open classroom or something. If you need to feel better, just put it there. But I think for like
But
grad student is really bring those transferable skills you have learned during all those research year and
don't,
studying.
don't the companies really expect any like certifiable knowledge in digital marketing or in social media communication? So if you apply, just putting forward your background, once you get questions about that, probably, right? Like, so probably at the interview, the recruiter will actually drill you and drill through your application and try to figure what is your potential as a communicator, or perhaps your own presence is enough if you have enough online presence on multiple media channels. Maybe this is the selling point.
Um, well, yeah, if you go there and your LinkedIn page is not done, you have nothing on Twitter, maybe they start questioning you. But if it's something that's interesting you, that's mean you're already on those platforms. Just by like for me, like for Twitter, just by sharing things I like, you grow followers just by uh, talking about things that interest you.
Right.
I guess if you go there with like you have no social account, they'd be like, okay, why you want to do this if you're not already on it? Like that makes no sense, right?
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you so much, Elodie, for all this great advice today. Thank you for joining us and accepting the invitation. And for you guys who came to the end of this episode, if you would like to get more content related to interesting jobs and interesting career paths that are available for graduates from universities, please share this material and also subscribe to our channel. And we welcome any questions that you might have. And have a nice day. Thank you, Elodie.
Thank you so much for having me.